I'm still setting up the Zoom. You can't make noise, Mom. Okay, and we are live. Okay, so welcome everyone. We are live on YouTube, LinkedIn, Clubhouse. Hi, hello to my Clubhouse family, and on Facebook. So today we are talking about going for that job that you know you were perfect for, but didn't get it from an emotional intelligence lens. So hello again, everyone. My name is Sreshtha Tewari. I am a woman in leadership emotional intelligence coach. And this is my podcast for women in leadership and business on emotional intelligence. So when we apply for a job, we have all been in that place where we have looked at a job requisition or a mandate. We know we could do everything on that mandate or most of the things. And we put together a resume, we do our research, we practice for the interview. We expect to get the job because we may know we are the best fit. Sometimes you know the other candidates applying. And then you don't get the job. Just hold on one second. No, Mama can't come. I can't come. Come on, you go. Okay. Yeah, so this is my daughter. She wants to go potty. No, Mom, you go quickly. You go quickly. Okay. So when we go through these situations, the first thing we think about is, or we feel most likely, some sort of rejection from the fact that we didn't get the job. But on an emotional level, your being accepted to the job actually has nothing to do and does not define your worth. All it is that a decision was made in respect of the fit for that job, what is required for that job. And remember, the decision is also being made by other humans who are going to decide if you are that fit, who come with their own baggage. So the first thing I want you to know is that if this has happened to you, this is not in any way a reflection of your self-worth. It does not speak to your value as a unique human being, and it doesn't speak to the fact that you could have done that job to a most excellent level. So let's talk about what happens energetically. The energy that we put out indicates to the universe if we are really prepared to, in this case, go into a different position. So for example, if you are applying for the position, but secretly you're thinking, oh my gosh, I don't know if I could do these two things in the position, or maybe there's some intrinsic underlying belief that deep down, the job may be so much money that maybe you are not worth that money, or it could be other unconscious beliefs that you carry about yourself, feelings of inadequacy, feelings of not being good enough, that you think are not affecting how you go into this interview and how the universe is conspiring to make the things you want come together for you. But these things, hi Karine, these things actually do affect your ability or your energy in respect of going into that job. So one thing I want you to be conscious about when you are applying for jobs is ask yourself, is there anything that goes on in your body? Is there any anxiety? Is there any contraction when you're applying and going for this job? And if you feel that, what I would suggest to you is to try to regulate that within your body. And how you can do that is just go in front of the mirror, assume, pretend you got the position and think about what do you feel? Are you anxious? Are you feeling, can I really do this? Are you feeling, wow, this is really happening to me? Because all of those things even though they are good and they speak to the fact that you're growing, it also speaks to the fact that there is some incongruence in your alignment with what you are believing you can actually do, because there is some amount of fear or some amount of anxiety attached to that job. So it's just for you to be aware on an energetic level that even though you have all the things ticked out for the job, you have the skills, you have the competencies, you have the experience, there are other things in play for you as a human that may impact whether or not you are shortlisted and being given the interview for the job. And even when you get the interview, the things that you think about going into the interview, during the interview, and after the interview all affect the outcome of that application. Okay, so that is the first thing, looking at yourself energetically, what is going on in your mind, and some of it may be unconscious. For example, if you have an underlying belief that everybody in your family was only reached a certain level, and for you to move past that level may somehow create some unconscious unfairness to them, all of those things will hold you back, and we actually are not even aware of all of these things, but on an energetic level, they do hold you back. And the other thing to be aware of, as I said in the beginning, is the fact that no job title defines you or your worth. Whether or not you get a job does not change who you are as a human. So when you go through the interview, you may not have gotten the job, but it doesn't mean that it is a bad thing. So I like to look at these times as a sort of message saying it's not your time now. So it may be straight tactical. There is some upskilling you have to do. It may be that more experience may be required, but it also may be on an energetic level. There is some growth required. And in order to grow past that has to do with rewiring and reaffirming your beliefs, doing exercises like the ones I just shared, and affirming to yourself who you are, knowing that you are fully deserving of whatever position it is without question. The other part of it, so let's just say you do all that, you know you are deserving, you know your worth, you know that you can do the job, and you still don't get it. The other thing we have to remember is that the hiring panel, the hiring manager, the HR manager, whoever else is on the panel, they are all humans with their own baggage. So just because they are interviewing you, it does not automatically mean that they are equipped to find the best candidate for that job. So as an interview panel, they would have the normal things we look for when we're interviewing. And most of those things are tactical, problem solving, communication, all the normal things you see expected under competencies and skills on a job requisition. But each of those persons, and especially maybe the hiring manager, their own self-esteem, their own worth is also going to affect who they choose for a job. And this is from personal experience. Like I have had a manager tell me that they didn't choose me because I seemed too quiet, and they were afraid if they told me something, I would start to cry. And I'm not making this up. This was true feedback from an interview. And that really didn't have anything to do with me. It had to do with that person's discomfort in respect of how they can relate to an introverted person, because I am introverted. So there's that aspect of it. I have also been told on interviews that, you know, I really wanted you, but the other people couldn't think you could have done the job because, again, you seem quiet. Again, it has to do with those people's, how they were brought up, what they believed, what they thought about maybe quiet people or introverted people. All of that would shape the candidate they choose, because their beliefs, whether or not they are credibly informed, is going to influence their decision. And that is something we cannot control. You can't control who is going to interview you. So going into an interview, while there are things you can do to prepare yourself, there's also dependency on the emotional capabilities of the person hiring you and their ability emotionally to choose the best candidate without being attached to frames and beliefs they would have been brought up with. And the only way that they could traverse that is if they would have done some sort of self-reflection, introspection, if they went through a rounds of psychology, or if they had a coach to work with them to understand how their emotional blocks influence their hiring choices. The good thing is, if that is the reason you didn't get the job, then it is a good place for you to be, because you don't want to end up in a position where the persons you are working with do not know how to effectively communicate and relate to their staff on an emotional level. And this is a big, emotional intelligence is something that is coming to the forefront in leadership, how we relate and deal with our staff and our employees. But in my respectful opinion, I don't think the breadth of it is really very well understood. There are things that do impact us emotionally that companies are starting to get on board with, like flexibility, maybe work from home. But there are other aspects of leading your staff from an emotional, intelligent lens that is not really in the forefront right now. Simple things like, how do you connect with someone? How do you connect with someone who's introverted as opposed to someone who's extroverted? How do you build trust with your staff? How do you create a psychologically safe space? And I kind of went off on the side here, but it's just to bring the point that if the reason you didn't get the job is because the persons in charge of hiring really doesn't know themselves well enough and have that within themselves, then it may be a good thing, because you don't want to end up in a place where you have to keep proving yourself because of someone else's insecurities. I want to offer you a reframe though, because when we don't get these jobs, a lot of times we think that there's something wrong with us. And as I said in the beginning, this has nothing to do with yourself or your worth. So how I like to think of these, I don't want to say rejections, but these messages that no, this is not right for you at this time, is just that a simple no to keep you on the right path. It's like if you have a goal of, let's say, going to the beach, and the beach opens certain times, and someone in the car, and you decide, let's stop in the grocery. And then someone in the car says, you know what, if we stop in the grocery, we're not going to reach in time. We're not going to get to enjoy the beach, the bay. It will take too long. So it's just like a no like that. You are on a path. You don't know your path and your final destination, or your destination for that season of your life. But a higher being, the universe, however you want to refer to that, does know. And think always that being, that the universe, however you want to refer to that, is guiding you. And that guidance may come in the form of rejection for something that you want to do, because that guidance knows better than you in the human form. So I hope that made sense. I hope that frame made sense. And I want you to know as well that every no you get is going to lead you to your perfect yes. And this is something that happened to me. Okay, honey. This is something that happened to me very recently when I was doing one of my series. I was trying to make it perfect as usual. I let go of that, and I was having trouble finding a psychologist.
Mommy, is my toy?
Yes. And I decided to let it go. I just told myself at the right time, I will get the person best suited. And it so happened that the person that I ended up getting for that series, I really hit it off well with her. I loved the vibe she brought to the series. She was gentle and kind, She didn't come across abrasive, which is, I didn't want that sort of energy. I wanted the gentleness, the kindness, the compassion, and I got exactly what I wanted by just letting go and letting the universe do the work. So I hope that was helpful. If you guys have any questions, I invite you to put it in the chat so that I can respond. Hi to my friends on Clubhouse, Angus and Jade. You're welcome, Angus. And if you are watching, please feel free to just say hi so I know that you are out there. Okay, so I'm not seeing any questions coming in, but I trust that this was helpful for you guys, because I know a lot of times when we apply for jobs, and especially if we know that we should have gotten it and we don't, I know the feeling, I've been there, but just trust that there's a bigger reason, there's a higher purpose, whether it could be that you need to upskill, you need some experience, or you need to energetically have some growth. Could mean that, or it could just mean that it is not the right time, the right place for you to be in, and there's something much better coming on the way. Hi, Betty Ann. Thanks for saying hello. Betty Ann is my friend from school, from Bishops. So if no one has any questions, I will end at this point in time. I invite you, if you have something that you're struggling with emotionally, to book a free or complimentary emotional breakthrough session with me. It is 1 hour. I guarantee you I will clear one emotional block and you will feel a shift. All the information is down below, and I will see you guys soon. Also, feel free to visit my website, www.purposefullypassionate.com. Bye, everyone, and thank you so much for joining. Yes, just no, Mama.